Hello world, this is Krusty Bob, and with me is Krusty Will, who's even crustier than I am. But we're leaning over an IBM keyboard. It says Model F.
The Model F was a keyboard that started production in 1981 before they figured out what a keyboard was yet. These are a collector's item for their mechanical keyboard properties.
Okay, so we've got the back open right now, and it needs some cleaning. Over here, I think there's like, does it look like a bug's nest or something in there? Yeah, they.
It may be the corrosion of the foam.
No, I think that's some larvae that never made it out. This thing is incredible. As I noted when we were taking it apart, the back is held on with these big machine screws. These are the kind of things you use when your aluminum screen door breaks or you need to reinforce it. You put these things in. But what year was this built in?
1981.
So in 81, this was the state of the art when making a computer keyboard. You take off the back, and then there's this big old piece of steel right here, and it's about the same gauge as they make car bodies out of. How much does this thing weigh?
Like 7 pounds.
7 pounds for a keyboard. I got 3.5 probably right in there. I don't know what they were expecting. Was this like a barrier against radiation during weird sunspot cycles or something? This was IBM, which was used to building industrial computers that handled millions and millions of not only transactions, but key punching and all that. They had the cards. It was very much a mechanical system compared to what we're used to in computers now. So I guess they, if you're running millions of key cards through, that's a lot of stress. So they took the same techniques when they built a little keyboard. Now, would this been on a PC, what, AT, XT, or what?
What? This is the XT, I believe. The AT is a bit rarer.
So we're gonna dust it out a bit. And there's some foam under there that apparently falls apart. So we'll take a look at that, and Will's going to do what he can to rehab the thing and maybe use it on his modern day computer. You can make or buy an adapter that takes the output of this, which is a big old round cable, and you can make an interface or buy an interface to go to USB. And this is another sign of the times. Look at this thing with that big old cord. This is like military spec stuff, that they would use on the headsets for pilots. And again, a lot of overbuilding in this thing. How do you get that back off, the metal plate?
With great effort.
Are there screws holding it?
There's a screw through the PCB. That's the back end of the screw, it looks like. And then there's this, which has to be bent up.
This thing probably went into the design stages in the 70s. And we were looking at the big metal plate that you probably use for armor, and the big sheet metal screws, and then we have the metal tab. You bend the tab up to get this off, and that's like one step above the old metal toys we used to buy that were made in Japan. They were made out of sheet metal. They'd have little tabs that went through little holes, and they'd bend it over, and that's how the things were made. So computer keyboards were being made pretty much the same as Japanese toys. When tab bent, then you can lift up. All right.
Let's put this off to the side here.
Okay, so we were talking about foam that needed to be replaced.
The foam is underneath here between these two.
Is that what that is?
This foam is in really good condition, it looks like. The picture of this, because I'm going to start removing these keycaps.
So there's the tool that makes this a lot easier, but really, what do you have to do to take them off?
Just pull up, except for the space bar. The space bar on this one is finicky, and it's one of the last things you're going to get off, or else you can end up snapping an important part.
So here we are looking at, what, 40 years worth of dirt in there? Look at that.
Essentially.
Old keyboards have had a lot of use, getting worn off, but this looks pretty good. I saw a butterfly winged in there. Moth. That's disgusting. Did these people ever air blow their keyboards? So this is where the other screw comes out. And it's a smaller screw than the ones that held the back on, but it still is a machine screw and uses actually the same size of head. And we're using one of these little tools to get that out. It's basically like a socket wrench that fits into the end of various screwdriver handles and electric screwdrivers. So again, we're using screen door repair stuff to work on the IBM keyboard. So a little whack on this loosened it up in the slots a bit. It tends to get very tight over the years with all that little debris getting caught in all the corners. Yeah. That's kind of artistic looking.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the actual connections for the keyboard. Each one of those little golden squares represents a contact point.
This is where you can break something, apparently.
Why would it break? What
Because there's this stabilizer on the inside, so if you try to pull it off like one of the normal keys, you could break this whole assembly. But I think now that we have it open, we can take it off safely. Probably.
Maybe rock it a little bit as you move it up. What do we have to do here now?
We're looking to remove this spring.
Okay.
So to get it loose, you take it. This option is take a flat-headed screwdriver or other prying implement to release the spring from a notch in the black plastic.
Yeah.
I see the notches there, I do believe.
Each one of these pieces is going to come out, go into the tub, and then get cleaned. Some assembly required, batteries not included. All of the keyboard hardware has been disassembled. There's a piece like this. Can you hand me one of the other pieces? And there's one like this. And these are remarkably clean. I can't see any dirt on these. On the ones with the shaft, there's a little bit of dust right at the bottom of the shaft, but that can be easily taken off. People talk about online putting in new foam, and I'm looking at this foam right here thinking, no way. What kind of job is it to cut out foam to fit in here, to get everything aligned precisely? This looks really nice. And again, you know, the keys don't show any signs of wear, and this also would seem to indicate this keyboard didn't get a lot of use. I think it was just it kept around the house as a place for little tiny bugs to nest. The back side is not nearly as pretty. I guess this would be the upside. So this represents, I would say, stuff that's fallen in over the years and sort of congealed. Oh, that's the metal. I'm thinking this is plastic.
Yeah. Everything's metal in this.
We have opened up the Model F IBM keyboard, and buried away inside is the actual circuitry for each key, right in the middle there, made in Hong Kong. So it looks like from the very beginning that they had parts being made in China. Here's the bottom of the case. It's got some stuff on it, and I'm cleaning that off. I used Goo Begone and Scotch nylon pad to clean up the bottom of the keyboard. Works really well, and whenever I do that, I then spray it down with some sort of window cleaner, and basically use that to remove all the Goo Begone or WD-40 or whatever I had to use to wipe off the stuff. And that's the air compressor kicking in, because when I'm done wiping it down with the glass cleaner, I then blast the heck out of it with the air compressor to remove the glass cleaner. I want to get it clean and just nothing on it, no residue from cleaners on it. So my next job is to clean up the plastic top of the keyboard. I've got some pretty serious gunk right there. And here are the outer pieces of the keyboard after being cleaned up. They look pretty good. Missing a couple of those little cork feet. Do they still sell those, or do you have to go buy a bottle of champagne and cut one out of the cork yourself? And here we have the two newly cleaned parts attached. The only thing that holds the case together is that, and ones that goes in there. Those are the sheet metal screws. These are the legs that fold up. Now all I have to do is wait for Will to do the hard part, which is to clean all of the keys and reassemble it. Okay, we've got the cord and we have the case cleaned. Will's been working on button parts, these little things right here.
The barrels.
The barrels, and a little bristle brush works pretty good on those. He has the keycaps are soaking in water, and those will be
dish soap.
Water and dish soap, and that'll be stewing like that for about 6 hours or so, and clean those up.